I'm Bethany.
And I'm Juanita.
And together we are Soul to Soul.
Hello. Good afternoon.
It's tapping into Tuesday. I cannot wait till September gets here, quite honestly. At the beginning of school in August, we really don't do Tasty Tuesdays. So I can't wait to get into September because we're going to start cooking in my classroom again. Anyway. Hey everybody! I know, that was a little side note because I kept thinking about apple pie we're going to make. Welcome to our podcast, and we always want to invite you to go over to Facebook Internet, Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok to go find our motivational boosts every day. Let's get into what we talked about today. If you go look over at the visuals, one of them is like real darkness, and you can see someone's hands out holding like prison cell bars, something like that. No caption in it. But there's also another visual up there with a horse tied up to a plastic chair that is connected to nothing. And it actually says, sometimes the thing that is holding us back is all in our heads. So I want to practice a little bit of information. Some of the information I got in here, I'm not going to read it all because it just talks about like where we are, where we're going, because I want to get right into it. The three little words, or the three little letters that make up one really powerful word, Y-E-T, yet. Every time we talk about different things, especially like in our lives, well, this hasn't happened. And if we add yet to it, it really gives that spark or that little boost of hope that, hey, it hasn't happened yet. And then we can start thinking about what do we do? How can we make that happen? So really change that mindset for sure.
Yeah, there's a mindset that says, when somebody says, I can't do that, then you say, I can't do it yet. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Oh, no, we do that all the time in the classroom. My students will say, I can't do it. And I'm like, what's the word, everybody? Yet. Yeah, so we're working on it. We have to practice. So I'm a special ed teacher. We've been on campus now for 10 days with students. Here's my 2 cents of all of my stuff. I think in special ed world, and you know, if you're a special ed teacher or in that kind of settings, you can definitely get on board with this. We came to school not really too worried, my colleagues and I that work in that special ed department, because this is kind of the world we live in all the time, with a little bit of dysfunction in the classroom as it moves through. There's, some bumps here and there. Other teachers in general ed, they look like deer in headlight, because some of our students have lost a year of not just learning.
A year and a half of socializing with others.
Socializing, behavior, what it looks like, because we've been learning in our homes in a whole different environment. So it was almost not really funny, but sometimes my colleague and I, we said, wow, we're the only ones that seem not to be panicked. It was like, this is our constant. So we always have those pieces in place that we practice and put them back into place. So the students don't look quite bumpy, although there's bumps in our day. So I've been talking to quite a few teachers who have been asking, what can I do? How do I do this? Can you come check out this kiddo? And on with that. And I guess my brain was, we're already setting some of our students up, not for failure, but not for success either. If you're on day 1 at 10 o'clock in the morning, day 2 at 12, day 3, and you're still like, this is not working. It takes 21 days, my friends, 21 days of practice. And it's not just whoever you feel needs the practice, but the practice of yourself to make habits really start sticking. Now, after 21 days, is it going to be perfect? Let me give you a hell no. Let me tell you that. It's not going to be perfect. Because here's what happens. we have to practice everything every day. There's a lot of, for me, if you know my backstory, I started all these quotes, doing them back in the day when I was really sad and depressed. I was living in Colorado, missing my family, really not having the life that I thought I deserved or wanted to live. And so I started writing quotes to really boost myself up every day. And it just turned into what we do right now, which is fantastic. And I just said to Juanita, however this goes, whatever this turns into for us, it really makes me feel good because I read those quotes. And then I go back and listen to some of our podcasts. I read some of the feedback that happens from our listeners or those who follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. I really kind of find, and it makes it be so much more powerful when you put it out there, you live it, you learn it, you make it a habit. Other people are saying, thank you for doing that because I need to live it, learn it, make it a habit. And it just becomes this ripple effect of goodness. However it works for you. Because not every single thing that we experience or do is going to fit into somebody else's practice, or not going to fit into their yet. But it is a pretty good foundation to take some of those pieces and make your own foundation and use it for building blocks, how it works best for you. Anyway, so practicing all this just different stuff and just in living just differently. I know you guys all know that we pull from our experiences in our own lives.
Mm-hmm.
And I really had to say to my husband, we came back about 6 weeks ago from vacation, and I really said, here are 5 things I really need from you because I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling my best. Even with all this stuff I do, we do connections and we do our words and put it all up into all these social media pieces. And sometimes it still kind of falls short for me. So that's when I know I need to be able to count on my partner. And I'm not going to say my poor husband. I'm just going to say it's tricky with any partner who has a teacher or a spouse, because we're like A, B, C. What's the problem? Like, what is the problem? So I really had to talk to him the other day and be like, what is it I need to do for you? So what I did was I wrote what my issue was, how it affects me, and what can be done about it for me. And I think at one point he said, well, that really doesn't work for me. On one of these little listings I gave him, I only gave him 5 different things. And I said, I agree that it doesn't work for you, but it's what I need to help feed me so I can be my person that I need to be, because I'm not there yet. And that's why I need your support. And he got it yesterday. It was like this big giant aha moment. He said he was going to be able to schedule a couple days. I'll let you know on Sunday evening. He even mentioned it to me. Sunday evening came and gone. He came home yesterday after practice and he was like, oh, I said, hey, did you forget something? And he's like, no. Oh, yes, I did. Yes, I did. Hey, just tell me when you want to go. I'm like, nope, that makes me do all the work. I want you to do the work because that's what I need from you, is to set up, hey, when are we going to go for a walk? Don't ask me to tell you when I'm ready. I want you to tell me when you're ready. And if it works for me, that's going to be great. If it doesn't work for me, I'll give you a different day and time. And I think that in its space is we need to use what we have, because if you know, you've heard it on other podcasts and seen it on TikTok and Facebook, we had this really great schedule. But it was a lot impacting for him to have a new job, me going back to school, and it was a lot. And our daughter moved in with us. Yeah,
he does
a practice after. So there's a lot of moving parts in my house right now. And I think with change, and I had to understand this, not make it be an excuse, but have an understanding for everybody. Anytime change happens, you have to relearn different things. We are a 1-bathroom household with 6 people living with us now.
I don't like change. I'm okay with my personal change, but when other people affect me that I have to change, then I don't like that.
Because sometimes change, when we think about change, we really do think very personal about it instead of thinking community or relationally. Because if we look at, I need to change this, and if you're doing it only for you and you're not thinking about those other 6 degrees of people around you, it could affect them for your well-being or your better being. It could smash or knock them out of their better being, or they're on their way to their yet.
Right.
Yeah. So it was kind of a tricky dance. So I did give the whole, okay, I get it. We maybe moved too fast on that because we were on vacation and there was no real obligation. So we were like, yeah, we could do all this. And then you put it into real practice and it truly wasn't practical yet. So, it's slow as you go. And Juanita and I talk about this all the time, and she has to remind me, we just go steady and slow on everything.
That's why I've always done everything. Like, I always take my time. I've always been an observer. I look at stuff and how it turns out. Because I'm, the youngest of a lot of kids. So I see the things that they did. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Excuse me. I didn't burp. Sorry. But I like to observe. And I'm slow and steady. It'll come. Yeah. Because you have important things to say. You don't want to be a flash in the pan. You want people to listen. You want people to get something from it. You want them to take what they got from it and move forward with it. You want them to live better lives. I talk by experience. I mean, my life perfect? No. I'm going through something right now that is kind of different for me.
Yeah.
But it's got another person in the story, so I'm not going to say the whole thing, but it's different. It's different because you've been living a certain way for 20 years, and then all of a sudden it's like, you have a whole person that's present now.
Yeah, so it's a whole big change, and then you have to be able to change with it. That's why it is. There's a lot of times I'm like, I really need to get this done. And my husband says, slow it down, Turbo. I'm like, okay, well, I'm not going to be turbo, but I don't want to be.
It must be a genetic thing because brother's just like that too. It's like they have something set in their mind and it's like, go, go, go. Because he's going camping this weekend, so it's like, go, go, go. Got the tent up. We're going to pick this up. We're going to leave at this time. We'll get this food. And where I'm like, take what's already at the house because, why buy new when you got something in the house? You eat it before it goes bad.
I feel
I'm more like, I'll get there and I'll be there and I'll do it relaxing. I'll get everything we need.
Yeah.
But I'm not, it doesn't have to be, this. It's just like high energy where I'm like, okay, well, it's all there. All the boxes and totes and everything you need are all right there. It doesn't have to be, like we need 6 of these, 6 more, but let's just get it all. And it's like a constant. It's like he's been talking about this for like 4 days.
I think it has a lot to do with
driving me nuts.
We're going to blame my mom for that. Thanks, Mom in heaven.
Because
she was a caretaker and she liked to have a lot of things organized so nobody went without and everyone had a good time, even though she stressed out a little bit. I remember my dad, he would say, can you sit down? Your food is getting cold. And she's like, I got to make sure everyone's okay. And then my kids say to me, Mom, you do the same thing. I'm like, oh, man. Wow.
And she does. Because she does exactly the same thing. And I'm thinking,
Juanita's like, thanks. Can I have another soda? Help me?
I don't get in your way. I'm not getting in your way.
And that's
like, hey, if you want to do it, then go ahead and do it. I'm one of those persons like, okay.
But I think that comes from a lot of that space of just being caretaking for sure. It doesn't make the yet happen faster, because if you go too fast, then there's pieces that's going to be missed or left out, or who knows what's going to happen. So in the bigger picture, like, we just need to be practicing like what do you have right here? What do you have? Use what you have right in front of you. And then how do you grow that? So how can you make that a little bit bigger? So as you move forward, you have more of that stable, balanced pieces with you. So now you got, hey, whether it's, I always use me doing a diet. Like I either go really,
Not
really
a diet.
fast. Oh, sorry. Life change, food
change.
change.
Food change.
So either I go really extreme and then it causes me anguish because other people...
Because it's extreme and it's not that healthy.
Or I say, forget it. Don't tell me what I can't have. I'll have whatever I want. And now I've just been practicing what is healthy for me to have. And do you want that ice cream because you can't wait to have it and you don't think you can have it tomorrow? Or do you want it because you're like, it's okay, I can have it. Like, I really have to double think about it and just go. And it's really been super helpful. And, just being able to say, what's your plan? What are you doing? How are you going to get there? So you can make it a smooth transition. I guess that's what it is. I'll tell you a little story. So we have a new counselor at school, which is pretty cool. And she loves to do social stories. If you're anybody who knows social stories, they're pretty cool. It literally is a comic strip. Like, if you think about comic strips, that's what social stories are all about. They just tell an organized thought of ideas from point A to point B to point C and so on. So I really enjoy social stories for sure. Don't have to use them quite as much as I used to, but we definitely use them in our classroom. So I started thinking about that when this came up last week, talking about social stories, and I was gathering all my things together. And yesterday I thought, you know what? Why am I making this big list that I might not be able to handle doing maybe this healthy eating change because new people are in my household, and I would make sure they're fed correctly or get what they want, or hey, get to the gym. Well, if I walked 3 miles today, does it matter if I get to the gym? I've exercised my 3 miles. Does it matter where? Like, I really need to be able to be like I am as a teacher, be able to ooze out my box and find those other hidden options and hidden treasures, find my gray when it comes to myself. I really have a hard time with that. So as we talked about all these pieces of yet and being able to practice, I feel a lot of times that when we say, oh, I'll never be able to do that. I saw, Judge Judy. It was on something, of course it's on TikTok. I watched a little feed of the interview she had. And she started saying, if you didn't do it in your 20s, it's okay, you can do it in your 30s. If you didn't do it in your 30s, it's okay, you can do it in your 40s. If you haven't done it in your 40s, go ahead, try it in your 50s. If you haven't tried it in your 50s, in your 60s, in your 70s, keep trying it. I can't remember who she was talking about, but there was somebody who's famous, oh my gosh, my apologies, who in her 80s wrote this book. Never written anything before in her life. And now this book is famous and published. Now I'm going to have to find out what that is. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I seen the same.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's just that matter of fact, it didn't work out because the season wasn't there, the timing wasn't there, your yet wasn't available to obtain for whatever other circumstances.
Just keep going. Keep chugging away.
And it makes it easier when I look at things that I want to accomplish and I want to do. Some of it's traveling, and the pandemic has really put a damper on my travel plans.
Well, then they open, and then it's open,
then
but you got
sure.
to do this, but then you're like, oh, okay, well.
I'm so cautious now because I'm in the classroom and there's so many different ideas of, if this happens, you have to do this. If this happens, you have to do that. I would be frightened and scared to death to not be in my class as we start chugging ahead when they're doing so awesome. And then who's going to take over my class and what happens? Oh,
when they close your class out?
No, there's like 5 different steps before that happens. Because then everyone has to be a distant learner, and so much paperwork, and it's just, and then if you happen to be at some point sick, that's why you have to close out. Either someone has to teach for you, you have to have weeks ahead of prepped. My lesson plans are there, but not all my stuff is copied, and it just makes it so we're not there yet.
I mean, what it comes down to, I'm going side note, is everybody has to take care of themselves. Or if you're a parent, you have to take care of your children. To not, to not get the COVID Delta variant.
Yeah, and it is, and it's real for everybody. Definitely.
That was my side note.
Yeah, I just think it's even scarier when you're just trying to teach kids. Kids are trying to be learners.
Yeah.
And they're having all of this things being said to them, brought to their attention. It just makes it so tricky, because in the back of your mind, you always have to be so extra mindful of where your kid's sitting. Are they sitting in the same groups? Like, we have a morning group that kind of stays, but in the afternoon, I kind of put some different learners with each other. At least we're 3 feet apart. We clean our tables every time we switch groups, so it makes it kind of easy. But I can imagine, I have 11 kids in my classroom. I couldn't imagine having like 23 or 24. But I guess in some of those groups, they're not rotating tables, and I don't know. It just makes it so that we're just not there yet. And I always feel like, hey, if we got this on the handle, we're not there, and oh my goodness. So
that goes like you personally, if you're not there yet, my motto is just keep going. Because I used to work at this one place, and anyway, it would drag on, and I used to tell myself, just keep moving, just keep moving, just keep moving. And that's what I tell myself now when I'm in a rut. It's like, you know what, just keep moving. Or like if we're walking and my feet are hurting, and because I'm flat-footed, so but I just keep moving, just keep moving, just keep trugging. Just keep going. And I personally like to do this because I don't want, I'm 60, and like Judge Judy said, it doesn't matter. It's just keep going. But if you are younger and you catch something that we say, and you're never going to get to where you're going, because you're always going to want to go forward, improve. But if you could do it when you're younger, and I think you'll be happier.
I think it manifests itself a little differently, because I know myself. I've said the shoulda, coulda, wouldas.
Well, these motivational things help me. They make me more aware of what I'm doing, because before I was like, I don't even like that person, but that's what I would say to myself. But now it's like, I smile. Because, it's like, I'll smile. I don't know them personally, so I shouldn't be like thinking rude stuff in my head. So I'll smile or do a quick wave, but it makes me more aware to be nicer.
And I think when those things happen, maybe those folks haven't reached their level 1 yet. We're all at a yet mode. We're all at that YET mode. Like, there's always that next thing. I don't think anyone has ever said on the top of the mountain, yep, I'm done. This is it. I'm over. Like, or maybe somebody has. I just feel that we just leave that like a brick wall.
And we're not saying that you're going to be chasing something or chasing your happiness. You're going to be going through your life and say, this part of my life is not working for me, so I'm going to go ahead and dump that there. And then you keep going, and you're like, I want to try something new. I want to try this. So you try that new, whatever it happens
21 days or more, everybody. 21 days or more.
And you live life to its fullest. You take all the toxic people out. You put kindness in. Even if you don't replace them with people, you're kinder. You're more aware. You don't. In my case, I used to be like judgmental to people, not like I'll be like.
I think sometimes it sounded a little sassy, like.
Right, but then I'm all like, you know what? I don't know the backstory.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't open their book and read their pages. So who am I to say, you know, because any one of us could be wherever we don't need to be.
That's what I say, you know. There by the grace of God go I. And so you have to, what would I do if that was me? How would I want somebody to treat me if that was me and I was down on my luck in that space because I'm not there yet?
It's true, that saying, treat them as you would want to be treated.
Yeah. So it makes it be really big. And I just think a lot of times that wherever you're starting, give yourself a break though. Don't make it be, oh my gosh, somebody else got so much more. I know my ex-husband and I, we used to always do this life change with food and such. And, you know, he would drop so much more weight than I would. And he'd be like, oh, how much did you drop? And well, I'd be like, oh, he's like, well, I dropped this much. And it just would not make me feel very good. And I don't think he was trying to be rude about it. I think he was just trying to kind of do the, oh, this is me. So I never really got it. So because I wasn't my best person, so I know like I probably took things kind of out of proportion for sure. But I would always try harder and be like, oh, I need to get there, need to get there, need to get there. And I'm like,
she was chasing somebody else's.
I was chasing their accomplishment pieces. Yeah, instead of just focusing on my own. And I know that. And I know, you know, there's a lot of times I tell everyone I love to run. I think it's great. After my knee injury, it's been really difficult getting back. You know, even running a mile is quite tricky. And it's not even my fast mile, which is really sad. But that's not me anymore. The person that was 6 years ago, running those marathons and races every other weekend and having that really good time, that's not me now. Like that was a different person because I've grown into be something different. So I have to be expecting from right now, I'm a new learner after surgery. I mean, after any change, you have to be a new learner. You have to be able to be open. I tell my husband, I said, look, you're a black and white kind of guy. Can you find your gray? Like just find some gray. It's okay. Like it can be splashes of gray someplace, just to have perspective that there's other options. There's other ways of just seeing things for the better. Like, you know, so when I look at myself, I'm like, hey, I made that list. That list is great. I'm going to accomplish that list. I'm going to give myself some time because once I feel it, once it gets going, I make it that 21-day habit for sure, at least. And I know for me, I'm golden because once I can do something for 21 days, I absolutely know I can make it that habit. You know, we've been in school 10 days and our classroom, like we've implemented like so many different things I never have in the past. Usually I wait till after Labor Day, then I get the regular curriculum because before I just get like all this, just all the review stuff out of the way. I had a couple students last week, which is our first full whole week. Said, are we going to ever have homework again? Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we'll start. So yesterday we started and they were so happy because they met their yet. They're there. They're wanting more and they're doing more and they're able to accomplish more. So I had to meet with their level of stuff. So it was really quite fun to see. I don't know. Anywho, I guess we're going to wrap this up saying, make sure you practice
safe sex.
I don't even know where that came from. Hello.
Well, that was the same, right?
Yeah, for sure. Back in the day.
No, especially now.
So practice what you want to accomplish. Be gentle with yourself. Let it be 21 days. Journal if it's something that's tricky. Know that your YET is right in front of you. And
keep going. Slow and steady wins the race.
Slow and steady.
Just keep going. Just do things that, you know, that you feel happy, accomplished. I mean, stuff that's not going to hurt anybody else.
But until then, everybody,
peace.
and keep it soul to soul. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram, Facebook, and
TikTok.
bye, everyone.